disadvantages of online education. Our subtopic presentation are: first, introduction; second, essence of education; third, uneven distribution of internet networks; fourth, lack of self-motivation; fifth, lack of social interaction; and the last one is conclusion and recommendation. From home is the government solution to keep learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. On January 2020, WHO declared it a public health emergency, with the continued increase in positive cases of the coronavirus in Indonesia, urging the Indonesian government to immediately deal with the COVID-19 pandemic by making various policies, such as implementing physical distancing, large-scale social restriction, and lockdown. With this government policy, it certainly has a big impact in various aspects of life, especially in the aspect of education in Indonesia. The implementation of large-scale social restriction has encouraged the government to issue policies on the implementation of education in Indonesia. The education sector has applied the rules of learning from home, or e-learning, for an intermediate time. Online learning is a new challenge for educators and students during this pandemic, which requires us to be able to use online learning media to be able to carry out learning, and is expected to be able to increase their creativity and their learning process. Carry out online learning, all parties who take part in the learning process must have readiness, such as an internet network with adequate connectivity and other facilities that can support the learning process effectively. So that online learning must be planned, implemented, and evaluated so that it can be carried out efficiently and effectively.
The essence of education is not fully achieved. The essence of education is not fully achieved because education does not only focus on knowledge but also focus on character education. The COVID-19 pandemic affects student psychology. However, the current situation certainly affects student psychology, where distance learning requires students to study independently and socially limits students from learning through a social environment. So, this aims to see the extent of the implication of distance learning on the development of children. Emotional intelligence in elementary school. The impact of distance learning results in a lack of social activity, learning saturation, pressure from parents to accompany their children along learning process, taking text, and a monotonous learning atmosphere become one of the eight inhibiting factors from children's emotional intelligence. Broadly speaking, this change occurs due to unpreparedness between students, teachers, and parents to face different learning situations. In addition, the focus on achieving learning outcomes is only on the cognitive domain, so that character and emotional intelligence can only be planted from home without socialization and support for innovative media for planting emotional characters in students.
Of online learning system is a solution option in COVID pandemic 19 that is happening in Indonesia. But it turns out it is also not the final solution to that problem. The application of this system has support and rejection in all students. As we know, This is online learning system requests supporting facility that mainly rely on the internet network and the availability of gadget. But this is obstacle because in Indonesia, the network facilities for all students in all corners of the region cannot be 100%, so that there are still some students who find it very difficult to implement the system. For example, students in Nusa Tenggara or Papua area, they just want to find a signal to join Zoom meeting and have to look for a higher area to get the maximum signal. In addition, the uneven economic level of students in completing other needs such as gadget and credit cause students to feel heavy so that they cannot be optimal in following this learning system.
Self-motivation. Lack of self-motivation among students continue to be one of the primary reasons students fail to complete online courses. Most students are experiencing stress and lack of motivation because the number of assignments they receive each day. Many have a hard time learning through online school and would much rather have in-person learning. In a traditional classroom, there are many factors that monotonously push students toward their learning goals. Face-to-face communication using professor, peer-to-peer activities, and things schedule or work together to keep students off track during their studies. However, in the setting of an online learning environment, there are fewer extra that encourage students to perform well. In this case, students are left to struggle with themselves as long as they do activity, without being monotonous and urging them to achieve their learning goals. Students taking online courses will find that they are often asked to research difficult materials in a comfortable living settings without the added stress of using traditional college. As a result, keeping up with regular deadlines during online students can be difficult for students who lack strong self-motivation and time management skills. Building strong self-motivation and discipline skills is a key to success in online learning environment. In addition, face-to-face communication using processor can be replaced using online communication, and peer-to-peer activity must be promoted between online students as well as in traditional classroom.
The last argument of our group topic is about the lack of social interactions that may lead to mental health issues. First, the emergence of a sentiment of seclusion in students due to the absence of face-to-face interactions resulting from online educations. With this COVID-19 pandemic has led to the presence of online educations or online learning and changed the form of learning from traditional face-to-face learning changed to online learning with the aim of preventing the spread of this coronavirus. But as we noted in school, what we want to achieve is not only knowledge, but there are other factors, namely the social interactions that exist when we go to school for learning. But now, that factor is lost, because mostly of our time is used to sit in front of the screen. So there is no face-to-face interactions that exist between students, and there is no interaction too between students and teachers. And then, in traditional class setup, every student follow a routine schedule during school days. When it's time to go to school, time to interact with classmates, and a healing time for our brain to take a break after teacher go out from class. And even time for lunchtime or doing homework with our classmates. I think it's never be the same with the online learning. Staying focused on screen during online class is really challenging for students now. And this may cause a sense of social isolation in as students appear from this online school. The emergence of social isolation causes loss of friendship, and sometimes it makes them feel lonely and even depressed. Second, this lack of social interactions may lead to unhealthy mentality. The unhealthy mentality, such as negative thoughts, depression, loneliness, stress, and low self-esteem, is often a result from sentiment of seclusion. This sentiment arises due to the lack of face-to-face interactions that occur when learning takes place, thus causing a very severe negative impact, especially on the unhealthy mentality that resulting from online education. For example, when traditional class is held, we don't need to think more about our performance during class. But now, in this situation, in online learning, in his, some experts say that now many students are worried about the webcam that feeling very invasive. Some students feel that by online educations, their friends are looking directly into a close-up of our face when we get a talk. And it feels like there's nowhere to hide and that students become hyper-aware of their performance during online class and feel self-conscious or self-critical about how they look on the screen.
COVID-19 pandemic and the imposition of social restriction have caused fear and anxiety throughout the world, including Indonesia. This situation forced the government to issue a social restriction policy implemented in the field of education, which the implementation of the distance learning system, or commonly known as learning from home for a student in Indonesia. With this policy, of course, students experience drastic changes related to normal activities at school. In Indonesia, the implementation of this policy of limiting learning activities in school certainly has a significant impact on the mental health of students, although to varying degrees. Data obtained from a rapid assessment survey conducted by the COVID-19 Handling Task Force shows that 47% of Indonesian children feel bored at home, 35% are worried about missing lessons, 15% of children feel insecure, 20% of children miss friends, and 10% of children are worried about the family's economic condition. With this data, it shows that students experience a decline in mental health, especially for children who are still sitting in school, which makes their lack of socializing to their friends even though they are in the same school, which will have an impact in the future when they will do face-to-face learning. Strengthening family function in caring for children and adolescents as well as exciting the process of distance learning at home are also vital things that must be done during the pandemic. The family as the party who is least prepared to face various problems during the pandemic is the most strategic party to be able to continue to be accompanied both by the government and various other non-governmental institutions. Although this pandemic is not over yet, the impact of psychological stress and mental health on children and adolescents is increasingly real. The mental health condition experienced by our children and adolescents cannot be separated from the role of families, school, and communities in assisting children in facing various forms of change. Therefore, this must certainly be a concern for all parties to maximize collaboration as early as possible in overcoming various problems that occur later.